Welcome to Culture Screen, where we analyze culture through countdown. Before we begin, subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every week. Once you have clicked on the subscribe button, click on the bell icon to be notified of our latest videos. Spider-Man was arguably Stan Lee's greatest creation. There are also many things that make Spider-Man quite unique. These are the top 10 Spider-Man facts. Number 10. Deeply moral issues are discussed. After Uncle Ben is murdered, Peter Parker has the traditional archetypal formula to become a villain, but instead he chooses the righteous path. Spider-Man's main message is about the power of choice and that our morality is defined by our decisions and actions. In the comic book, we read, "What's with you, mister?" snaps the officer. "All you had to do was trip him, or just hold him for a minute." Spider-Man coolly replies, "Sorry, pal, that's your job. I'm through being pushed around by anyone. From now on, I just look out for number one. That's me." This scene sets the foundation for the moral journey Peter Parker begins. Number 9. Peter Parker is always in a good mood. No matter the obstacle or situation, Peter Parker is always humorous and ready to bounce back from any situation. Bradford Wright also states that even in the face of adversity, Spider-Man retained his youthful demeanor, irreverence, and self-deprecating sense of humor. He spouted off wisecracks while fighting middle-aged supervillains like the Vulture, Dr. Octopus, the Green Goblin, and Electro. At times, Peter wondered if he enjoyed the thrill of his powers too much. Spider-Man always reminds us to take our work seriously and ourselves lightly. Number 8. Peter Parker aged and developed into the series. Since most superheroes are already adults when their comic books start, we are not able to see their full development as characters. Spider-Man is a bit different because we were there with Peter as he went to high school as a student, went on to graduate from high school, later going to college, getting married, and becoming a high school teacher. Every step of the way, we have been there with and for Peter. Number 7. Cross promotion. According to Bradford Wright, Stan Lee used superhero encounters like the ones between Spider-Man and Daredevil and between the Fantastic Four and the Hulk to cross-promote the Marvel comic books and build the foundations for an increasingly complex Marvel universe of interrelated characters and stories. By designing the Marvel universe as an immersive and intertwined story, Spider-Man was used to frequently advertise other superheroes in the Marvel universe. Number 6. Spider-Man's costume design was drawn by Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko was chosen by Stan Lee, according to Bradford Wright, because he was able to show off Spider-Man's internal frailty and weaknesses. Through web slinging, for example, Spider-Man's favorite mode of transportation, we are able to see Spider-Man's acrobatic maneuvers in the middle of the sky. This form of travel also made his appearance unique as he swung through the rooftops of New York City. Remember, early on, Spider-Man is introduced as a teenager attending high school without a driver's license or money to buy a vehicle. According to Bradford Wright, The Amazing Spider-Man became Marvel's best-selling title. Much of the credit for Spider-Man must also go to artist Steve Ditko. Stan Lee assigned the series to Ditko rather than Kirby because of his characters. Kirby's characters were powerful and impressive. But that was not the image that Lee wanted for Spider-Man. Ditko effectively brought out the humanity of the teenage hero, according to Wright. It is in fact interesting to note that so much thought went into Spider-Man's original design. Number 5. Peter struggles with everyday life. Just like us, Peter Parker finds it difficult to balance his personal life with his responsibilities. There are times when Peter forgets the film needed to take pictures of Spider-Man, and at times Peter isn't capable of paying his rent on time, according to Bradford Wright in Comic Book Nation. While other superheroes like the Fantastic Four frequently fought amongst each other and the Hulk struggled to control his own personal powers, Spider-Man's conflict is an internal struggle, the internal struggle of most teenagers. Number 4. Peter is driven by guilt, not revenge. Most superheroes are on a mission for something. Either they are seeking revenge for a crime committed against them like Batman, or the superhero is protecting innocent civilians from alien attackers and bank robbers. Spider-Man is the first superhero to be motivated by the guilt of his own actions. When Peter fails to stop the assailant, he fails to save his uncle's life. This becomes the central aspect of Peter Parker's identity development as his character ages throughout the series. Number 3. Not a sidekick. Even though Peter Parker was a teenager from Queens, New York, his character was not deduced to the role of a sidekick from the beginning. Most teenage superheroes were in fact sidekicks, like Bucky or Robin. In Captain America Comic 1, 1941, James Buchanan Bucky Barnes is introduced to readers. When Joe Simon created his initial sketch of Captain America in 1940, he included a sidekick named Bucky. Joe Simon named Captain America's sidekick Bucky in memory of a close high school friend. Whereas in Detective Comics number 38, 1940, we are introduced to Robin. Dick Grayson, or Robin, is introduced as an orphan child from a family of acrobats called the Flying Graysons. Robin watched a mafia boss kill his parents while trying to extort the circus they worked for. From this point of view, Robin, much like Batman, decides to fight crime alongside the Caped Crusader. Again, this is a huge contrast to Spider-Man, who chose to set out on his own path as a teenage child. Number 2. Peter Parker suffers personally. Peter Parker's personal life is severely affected by the responsibilities found in his new identity as Spider-Man. The story of Peter Parker teaches us that when it's time to make a decision, we must be responsible first, and that by cutting corners we only harm ourselves. Traditionally, superheroes would wear a costume to protect their identities. However, Spider-Man quickly finds that his private identity and his status as Spider-Man intertwine on numerous occasions, causing him to risk his loved ones frequently. Number 1. Teenagers can relate. Conceived in the 1960s alongside characters like Wolverine and Iron-Man, what made Spider-Man unique was that he was a young nerd like many young comic book readers at the time. This meant Spider-Man and Peter Parker would instantly become relatable to young readers who previously had to relate to an orphan billionaire or an alien superhero. Another aspect that made Parker relatable was his crush on Mary Jane and his inability to overcome his shyness at first. These internal conflicts push young readers to truly relate to Stan Lee's greatest creation, Spider-Man. Parker was also bullied constantly. The bullying he received in school life also spilled over into his professional life, as his boss frequently scolds and belittles him throughout the series. If you would like to learn more about the history of comic books, pick up Comic Book Nation: The Transformation of Youth Culture by Bradford Wright. If you would like to read the original Spider-Man comics, a great starting point would be The Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collection by Epic. The links to these items will be found in the description below. So what did you think of this countdown video? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, check out our other video countdowns. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every week. Once you have clicked on the subscribe button, click on the bell icon to be notified of our latest videos.